Nothing worth doing ever came easy.
Treat the word impossible as nothing more than motivation.
Never, ever quit. Never quit. Adversity makes you stronger. Don't give in, don't back down, and never stop doing what you know is right.
They want to take away my freedom because I will never let them take away your freedoms. They're not coming after me, they're coming after you, and I just happen to be standing in their way.
When they couldn't beat him, they tried to bankrupt him.
President Trump is back in a New York City courtroom.
When that didn't work, they tried to put him in federal prison.
Raided by the FBI.
When that didn't work, they even tried to kill him.
He just tried to kill President Trump.
Donald Trump still stands, ready to fight, ready to win, and ready to make America great again.
This is Donald Trump's house, brother.
This election, we all get to choose. I'm going to choose real American leadership and a real American badass. The 45th and soon to be 47th President Donald J. Trump.
Starting on day one, we will defeat inflation quickly and we will make America affordable again. I will cut your energy costs in half. It's time for the working man and woman to finally catch a break. We are going to bring back the American dream bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. When I'm back in the White House, we will restore world peace, and it will be again peace through strength. I will launch the largest deportation program in American history. And we'll put these vicious and bloodthirsty criminals in jail or kick them the hell out of our country. November 5th, 2024 will be Liberation Day in America.
We all salute the same great American flag. Our best days are yet to come.
Together, we will make America great again.
Welcome, everyone. I'm having technical difficulties today. I'm always having technical difficulties. It's good to see everybody. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate you. Wow, we have a show tonight. We have a guest that is going to be coming up here in a minute. I've watched some of his content. Very smart young man. And I'm so excited to have him on the podcast. Well, let's welcome Adam up. Adam, how are you? It's good to have you here. So good.
I'm doing well, Country. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, you're so welcome. I appreciate it. Tell us a little bit about yourself, if you want to.
Oh, yeah. So my name is obviously Adam. I'm a Texas boy. For most of my life, we are braggadocious and very proud to be Texan. Without like good reason, especially these days, it's a little bit harder each and every day to be proud to be Texan. But I live in El Paso. I'm in a very blue and mind-numbing city, all honesty. It's quite wild. But you kind of get used to it. I've been here for 30 years, so I understand them. I know how to kind of weave around them. But it does get frustrating at times. I've worked retail, customer service my entire life.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm just another guy, just a little bit above average.
You are just another American, hardworking American that has to deal with all the bullshit that we're putting up with, in our country and everything. Do you sway right, left, neither? Just
so it really is difficult to explain like where I come from, right? Like most people, they say that I would fall like in libertarian, right? Okay. Because I believe strongly in the Constitution. I believe in very limited government, like extremely limited government. Individual freedoms. I believe in state rights. So I would guess like my views would lean more conservative, right? But I'm not like completely across the board. But that's why I'm just able. Some people, I kind of catch them off guard and they kind of get pissed sometimes. But I think everyone. I think if you lean one way or the other on everything, that's kind of strange to me. I mean, to each their own, but it's just kind of weird to me. So,
well, there's many. I'm conservative, but there's much that I don't agree with. And there's some things I'll say I do agree with on the other side is the left as well. And a lot of people will be like, but not much. Yes, very slim.
Older
Very
liberal.
yeah, very, very, very small margin of that, truthfully. But it's good to have you here. I've never spoken to Adam before, guys. This is our first time actually interacting. And so if you guys think, oh, they've talked before, no, this is the first time I've ever spoken to him. And I'm so grateful to have you on, because that's what we have to do. Free thinking is the main thing. We have to be able to be free thinkers instead of being controlled and told what to think, what to say. Because as a matter of fact, I read something earlier that Obama, his little ass is crawled out of his hole. And now he is coming out saying that we need to figure out how we pretty much control speech again. It's always, truthfully, the left is always wanting to stop your speech. Just completely take your First Amendment right away. You know, it's that simple, because they don't like what you're saying. They don't like the narrative. We've got midterm elections coming up, so they need to push narratives that no one else, you know, can tell the truth on. But thank God we have Trump in office. I don't know if you're a Trump supporter. I don't know. I don't know if you are. If you're not, hey, that's great. I have to deal with it all the time.
Most of the people I hang out with are.
Okay.
I'm not particularly, but most people I hang out with are. So
hey, I respect that. I respect that. That's just fine. Hey, Texas Classy. Hey, nobody. Good to see you guys. Hey, Janine. Good to see you as well. Both
guys.
sides want, depends on what is being said. Absolutely. Absolutely. Everyone, if you want me to see your comments more effectively, go to Rumble and go to YouTube. And you can find me on YouTube at country_crazy 1973, because then I would have to go in between. We're still working out some kinks with the programming and everything. So that's how it goes. But there we go.
It bees like that sometimes.
Right. It does. And there we go. And it will show your comments on stage. Not sure. This is a whole new way they've fixed it up and everything. So it's much different than what the old program was. So it's actually, you got to get a lot to learn with it. So let's just dive in. How about that? Let's just dive the freak in.
Let's roll.
Okay, let's roll with it. What are your thoughts on Iran and Israel? Like, where do you see this conflict going in, pretty much, and your thoughts of it?
Okay, so this is obviously a very complex issue. I'll try to keep it short. And like I said, feel free to just cut me off. But
You're good. You're good.
I think it's important to understand, first of all, is that it's not as simple as just like good and bad, right? With these places. I mean, you could make arguments for both of them heavily that they are bad, especially when you look at historically. So as far as like I think a lot of people kind of know for the most part what's going on, but if you're asking like what I think it means moving forward, I think it's going to put us in a position where we're going to have to make decisions that we're probably not going to like as a people, right? I think people are going to be upset with how this goes. I think we're going to end up in a conflict. If it's boots on the ground or anything like that, I don't know. I wouldn't swear to that, right? But I think the way that it's setting up is that we are going to end up attacking them. And if not, I think it's going to be shown, or at least publicized in some way that we have. Or what I fear is that something will happen either here or to an allied country to kind of pull us in, right? Where they kind of say we had no choice but to go. We've seen it historically, and multiple times: World War I, World War II, Vietnam, the Gulf of Tonkin, Pearl Harbor. We've seen these things, and a lot of them, whether you believe or not, they have questions behind on the legitimacy of them. And so these are tried and true methods, and many others that pull us into wars and conflicts. And I think that's probably what we'll see here eventually.
Good points. Good points. I have a different outlook on it. If I take away from it, it's not a tactical aspect. I don't believe we'll have boots on the ground. I believe that we will effectively dismantle whatever needs to be dismantled with the technology that we have. We have Trump in office, and he's got balls of steel. We don't have a sleepy Joe in office to allow our country, to be completely, taken over, or not even taken over, or just no one running it, or a handful of people running it in so many different directions, because my viewpoint on it is, if we take the tactical aspect out of it, I believe, okay, we got Russia. They have vast natural resources. We have China, their manufacturing capital. We have India. India's being pulled in this too. I truly believe Trump is trying to gather all these nations together to where we'll be a sovereign nation, because in India, with India being pulled into it now, they actually have had their alternative financial systems for them, and it's dominated the world since World War II. Okay. And the British Imperium, they want us to go to war. They want us to go to war because they want to be able to dominate that. No matter, because we have all these people that just don't care. They just don't care. They want to stop Trump from trying to work together and get everyone together. If he succeeded in it, in creating a new element of a sovereign nations, it would be a game changer. It would be a game changer. If you take the tactical aspect of it, we're going to have tactical aspect of it, because Iran cannot have any kind of nuclear weapons at all. And that's how I think about it. I think that it's not that we're just wanting to go war, because the British Imperium, they have continuously told America, told other countries for centuries, the only way to be effective is with wars and illegal immigration, illegal work for years. And I don't believe it's a new world order. I believe it could possibly push it. I don't believe it is a new world order, but some can believe that if they want to, because we'll get to the Bible. The Bible does state that we will have 4 years of peace. That means we will have peace around the whole entire world, where there will be 0 wars at all. It will be complete and utter peace. I believe we're heading into that. That's my belief. Now, this is what I'm thinking. Okay. To where possibly he can restore America to where it'll help other nations. And I believe that's where we've got Russia, Ukraine, and all of these people in play, because Russia stand with Iran. So I believe Trump is actually trying to work everything out to where we don't go to war. We do have the technology, but now, as of today, what is it? Those B-2 bombers, 6 B-2 bombers have actually headed over to Guam in another undisclosed location. Let's take a look at what a B-2 bomber stealth looks like. There we go. Hopefully it'll keep us to where we can do it. I don't know. We're working it out, or my internet's so slow. But that's what a B-2 bomber looks like. I was watching a show the other night, or a podcast, and they sent 6. That's what we're hearing. 6 has been reported sent over there and into an undisclosed location. Now, Iran had a 5.2 magnitude earthquake. They had a 2-point-something one not too long ago. But this one was actually right near where their military bases, or military, whatever they do over there in their military area. So when an earthquake comes and it's a 5.2, let's just say, hypothetically, could the U.S. be truly dismantling it? How do you dismantle nuclear sites at other places? Heather, play number 3. The 148.
That this, you can just press one button and get rid of Iran's uranium enrichment site, or potentially, is there some magical thinking going on here?
Well, it's magical thinking, Jack. I mean, you and I both, you did targeting packages. I had inputs to targeting packages. I've been a planner, military planner, where we have to look at the range of things regarding a campaign, everything from kinetic strikes to special operations force options. And this is the deal regarding Corridor. You would have to have a strike package of 10 B-2 Spirit bombers coming in, one after the other, within about 3 minutes, dropping the ordnance. So these are penetrators, but Jack, to get to the level we're talking, you're going to have 10, count them, 10 of those penetrators get deep enough to have an effect. That's how deep this thing is. So, and then, oh, by the way, what happens if we have to go in and verify we did the job we said we did? Oh, by the way, what happens to the radiation that comes spewing out once you penetrate the facility? So General Tony Zinni, the commander of Central Command, one of my friends and mentors, told me that Bill Clinton, this is back in the 90s, Bill Clinton would ask him, hey, General Zinni, can you do X? Can you defeat X? And Zinni would say, yeah, I can do that, but then what? So I think, Jack, as much as we can talk about ordnance, we can talk about effects, nobody can actually define what our end state is or what would happen if we do this. The then what seems to be the piece that everybody is missing, and I think President Trump has got it. That's why he's taken a deep breath and thinking about this before we act.
I agree with that. I do believe, in my opinion, he's very patient with it. He's been very, very patient with it. I mean, he hasn't been trigger happy. Let's just say that, in my opinion. I mean, what are your thoughts on these bombers going over?
Well, he hasn't really been trigger happy, but he has kind of wavered back and forth, right? And this whole time, Israel has been, doing what they want. And this isn't just with Iran. They've been posturing and swinging their dick, for a lack of a better term, flexing their muscles and showing what they could do, because they can do so with complete immunity, right? They never get held accountable for anything they do. Whether people agree with the actions or not, if so many other countries were to do these things, we would be sanctioning them, we would be getting on them, and they would be held to account. It's no secret that we have vetoed pretty much every resolution that's ever been done against them, and this is throughout the world, right? These actions, I know that everyone looks at Iran as an enemy to us. I get that, right? And I'm not saying that they are not. But the problem is people don't look back to how a lot of this started. And when you have to look at people are so scared of extreme crazy Islamists, and they should be. The extreme crazies are fucking lunatics. I'll give it that, right? But the reason these people got such a big rise was because of our interference back in the 50s, right? Yeah. After we overthrew Mossadegh, you had 2.5 decades of just oppression to these people. And it's all due to the West. So it's going to build Western sentiment or anti-Western sentiment, right? So while this is happening, whenever they do end up taking over, now we're like, oh, well, what happened? Well, they're pissed off that we did it. Every time we put our handprints over there, people are surprised that these people might not like us. But if you look at so many of these areas, we have gone over there and destroyed them, right? I mean, look at Syria, look at Iraq, look at fucking Iran back then. Look at Libya. These are places that we went in and we destabilized. If we didn't just completely destroy and just left them, we leave them, and then we arm the rebels, right? So this area that's all destabilized and having to deal with all this chaos, we leave Iraq to ISIS, right? We leave Afghanistan. We give the Mujahideen weapons to fight the Red Scare, the Soviets, and then they turn into Taliban and Al Qaeda. Right now, they're some of our biggest enemies. Something that we can do very regularly is arm people and then not be able to control the problem. Right? We will build these rebel groups, use them, and then we just kind of let them go like dogs off a leash, and then we can't control it, and then they become our enemies. Now, the reason this is relevant is because we are sitting there, and while all this is going on, we are also funding Israel. At least $3 billion a year for it's going on 30 or 40 years now. I think now it's 3.3 is what we do every year just because it's Israel. An issue I see if we go to war, it's not just we're not going with another country who's paying for it, right? They're basically just a battery of us because we pay for this, right? This money that is going we are already in debt, right? We all know that our fucking deficit is crazy. It's crazy, right? And people don't talk about it because of the fear that comes along with Iran. But if we were to go to war right now, yes, historically, we have always made out well economically, right? Even if
Right.
historically it could be argued that we do not win more than we lose. This is, I mean, we lose so many battles. We end up leaving these countries, leaving them torn. We lost in fucking Vietnam. We didn't do that objective. We did it in Korea. We didn't finish that objective. We still have North Korea as like a fucking superpower, so somewhat today, right? Like, but economically, we end up okay. Now this one, Iran has the capabilities that if we get involved, they can really harm us economically. So how do we recover from a war that's going to build up even higher on a deficit whenever they have a lot of control? Whenever you look at oil and the Strait of Hormuz and all these things, right? Like usually we can just go around and be fine while everybody else is war torn. But with this one, it's not so much in our hands. And no one thinks about this, and Israel doesn't think about this, right? And we are funding these people no matter what, and we let them get away with it. If you look back, and this is crazy to think about. Now, I consider any like espionage or spying that can put Americans in harm's way as an act of aggression, right? It doesn't have to be just straight up shooting someone or whatever. But if you put Americans in harm's way, I consider this an act of aggression personally. Israel has more acts of aggression that are without provocation than Iran by like a long shot. Every time, even if you go through the proxies, the Houthis, the Hezbollah, they have gone at us, right? I'm not going to sit here and say that they haven't ever done this. They have done this, but usually it's because of occupation or things that we have done to them, or Iran, and they go through their proxies. That's why Iran has a clean record, but their proxies are the ones who do it. We know that's
Right.
how it works. But the problem is like Israel, on top of the liberty, right? We all know about liberty. There's so many, I mean, everybody pretty much understands that there's a good chance that 9/11, they had something, either knowledge, at least, to do with it, right? You have the dancing Israelis, you have the art kid school, the art school kids who were here like right before this happened. Like these are things that are documented. We just can't directly put them in there, right? There's more cases of Israel and more reasons to be scared of Israel than you would Iran, honestly, other than that Iran has Islamists.
I agree with some of your points. I do. I support Israel. I may not support the initial actions of war, but this is a machine that is being funded by all of us, all these countries. That's what I'm saying. The British Imperium always said and wanted to make people believe the only way you can have your world function is through wars. The only way power or balance would be is through wars on both sides. That's how they do. I do. I mean, I'm a Trump supporter, but I'm not. Like people say, you're a cultist. You're a cultist. No, I'm not. I just believe in his policies. I believe he's a Christian man. I believe he allows God to speak with him and to guide him, and he refers to God when he does make decisions. I believe he's a peacemaker, and we haven't had a peacemaker, truthfully, that was in charge of our country. But I do believe that we have those problems. I agree with Israel as far as the individuals. I may not agree with the way their government is being run, but I will always stand with Israel itself. And I never would deter from that from a Christian standpoint. And that's me. And some argue with me about that all the time, but that's okay. That's okay. You can have it. But the British Army are the ones who overthrew Iran in the 50s. Okay. Then they overthrew, I can't say his name, Shara or whatever. And then that is when the purpose of that led to the institution of the Islamic regime was formed at that point. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you agree with that?
Well, it wasn't just the British. Now, it was for British oil, right, at that time. But even the CIA documents uncovered and released prove and show, they admit that we helped and were involved in this. This isn't like a secret, right? So it wasn't just the British that were involved. We took a heavy involvement in doing this. And that was the whole point of putting in the Shah, because
that was what I was trying
there,
to think of. I couldn't think of his name.
Yeah. He was very Western friendly, right?
Mm-hmm.
So And yeah, you always had these little factions of, extremists, but you have those here, right? Like you have those here, these little factions of extremists, but they they had no real footing at the time. But what happened was whenever we installed the Shah, you started having more oppression on these people, right? So anti-Western sentiment grows. And I mean, we can say it was the British, but because of the British oil thing, right? Because that's what Iran wanted to do is they wanted to not share their oil, right? They were like, this is our
I
secret.
say it instigated it, and then after you start something, you get other people that come in. They need backing, funding to continuously pursue this to the end.
But you don't do that for free, right? You do this
No,
at a
that's what I'm saying.
price.
Yeah, there's a price, and most of the time it's human lives, and that's sad.
It is sad, but the thing is since we've done that, like if you look at that, right, that on it, just that alone, um, for all the fear that we hear, what have they honestly done to us?
Okay.
I mean, you do have the Beirut bombing, right? Like back before, you do have that. Um, so I mean, you do have instances like that, right? But this is also in retaliation to occupations and us being there and not wanting to be there. But you don't have them coming over here and causing all these problems. Yeah, they might scream death to America, right? And that's fucked up. But people say fucked up shit all the time. I mean,
Americans even say it.
yes, absolutely, right? Like
Yeah.
for all the times they say it, though, they haven't done anything, right? They're like so many other countries have inflicted harm upon us more than they have, right? So I mean, shit, like it just doesn't make sense to me. Like I understand when they push this thing about how scary they are. And
Yeah.
again, if I'm there, like you won't see me fucking go visit there. Fuck no. Absolutely not. I'm not gonna go visit Iran. That's fucking crazy talk, right?
I
But
agree.
they can do what they want over there, right? They do what you want over there. That's their thing, right? And it's not like, I mean, there's a lot of people over there. If they were really not wanting to be, have the have the Ayatollah running it, do something about it, right? That's what we say about here all the time. Like if you don't like it,
Right.
stand up and do something. Well, unlike us, other countries around the world, they do this shit all the time, right? Like they will get up and they will fucking revolt and not like our revolts, because our revolts are like staged. Like the government's out there like paying people to fucking go, right? And like
America's
trying to get
good at
people all heated up.
they're
It's like
good at
ridiculous.
staging.
And yeah, I mean it's all like most of our like protests and riots and shit. It's like it's all
Absolutely.
pushed by the government, and because they know that our young people are naive and they are easy to convince, and
Manipulate.
they'll go against what us old people are saying. So it's easy to get them out there, and then you get the people who go along and follow, right? And they're not really preaching a message, they just want to go cause chaos, and that's what they want, right? But in other countries, that shit's real usually, at least to the best of my knowledge. Hell, we had France do it, what, a year and a half ago or so, right? They're like dumping
Right.
fucking manure all over the place and like acting crazy. Very American of France, but we don't do that. But other countries do. And I think if they didn't want it, they would too. So, but they're not over here causing problems because of it.
Well, no, they're exercising what we have as a First Amendment right. They're peacefully protesting, but recently, we had the No King. What is it? The No Kings protest. California, it went haywire. I mean, it may have started out a protest, but it wasn't. It didn't head into it because you do actually have Antifa, you have other, let's just say, cells. I call them cells that want to cause destruction and cause these issues that we have. And I agree that Trump had to send in the Marines like he did in the National Guard. I believe that. I mean, I know this is where we're gonna disagree with it, and that's okay. But I believe if we didn't do that, we would in California, because Newsom wasn't going to do nothing. Bass wasn't going to do nothing, and they've got secrets hid in there. They've got shit that they're billions of dollars for the homeless just can't be found. So there's a lot of corruption going on. Yes, it is a sanctuary city. I truly believe that sanctuary cities are the epicenter of all of where the human smuggling, the drug trafficking, and everything like that is going on. You got to have a place to be able to take a turnout. You can't just start somewhere and have nowhere to funnel it. So all these sanctuary cities are an issue. I believe we should do away with the sanctuary cities and come up with a reasonable immigration system that does need reform in such a better light, because there's too much corruption. Can we get rid of the corruption? It would take time. Corruption's going to be there. It's a battle, good and evil. It's going to be there. But with these protests, I mean, you guys tell me they got boxes of bricks laying around, and here on July 4th, No Kings is going to have another protest.
Yeah.
Part 2, you know, they're going to come out with another protest. Yeah, Portland has taken over by Antivigan. It's just horrible how it's all heading out, you know. I was looking back at Crazy Mike. Hey Mike, how are you? He was saying something. Yeah, they were westernized. Iran was in the 60s, you know, the women were free, they was wearing skirts, they wore makeup, everything we do. And then the Islamic regime came in.
But they were able to do that before we got involved. In the 50s, they were fine. They weren't restricted like that.
I can't sit here and say that I know a lot about that because I don't. So I'm listening to a lot of your education.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
I don't know a lot about that.
That's fair.
I probably need to educate myself a bit more on it, which there's a lot of information you have to take in and you have to filter through. Yeah, there's so much
bullshit.
And that's Hey, Mike. That's why I'm so joyful that you're here because, I mean, some of your viewpoints, it gives me a lily pad to go off of and to kind of do my own research on and kind of say, okay, well, that kind of makes sense. So we should not be involved with Iran. Okay, I agree with that. We shouldn't be in any wars, but we somehow pull our asses in them. Okay. And we know how that really happens. We really know we get corruption. It's just the way it is.
People get money off it. They get rich. So.
Right. And if you fund both sides, you know what I'm saying? You fund both sides, which is what they're doing. Yes. I'm not going to be naive. I mean, the Biden administration, when everything happened with Hamas, they sent billions there. And then you got Israel that you're sending billions to. They need these wars to continue. They don't want peace. They just don't. They don't. What?
No, in 2000 last year or in 2024, right? The DHS released the DHS Homeland Security Report of 2024, right? I'd made a few videos on this thing back then because I kept telling people like, read it. You have to read it. It's not long. It's like a 10-minute read, and it's more than likely telling you what's going to happen. Well, now, and I would recommend everybody who's in the chat to go back and look up the DHS report, Homeland Security Report 2024, and you will see that a lot of the things that they wrote in there is exactly what's happening, right? They talked about Iran, Russia, and China being enemies. They talked about cyber threats. They talked about election issues. They talked about domestic terrorism. They talked about upright like protests, like everything that we're seeing right now. They talked about in the DHS report. And so it's like, we all like hear about all the time, like they tell us everything they're going to do, right? Or they like a lot of these things, sometimes they seem planned out. Well, I think there's a reason for that. They know what they're doing, right? These people have been corrupt and evil and doing this fucked up shit for a long time, which is why it kind of blows my mind whenever I do hear people, because when it comes to like liberals, yeah, I can sit there and go, yeah, you know, a lot of these people are fucking out of their minds, right? But when it comes to the politicians, if we are like being honest about this, how can people think that? How can it always blows my mind that people sit there and go, look at what the Democrats are doing. They're doing this. They're ruining our lives in absolutely every single way. These Democrat politicians are ruining everything. However, like whenever something happens that just seems like completely off the wall and like brain dead shit, it's like, oh, look at these stupid Democrats. They don't know what they're doing. They're ridiculous. And it doesn't make sense like how these evil geniuses who have been doing this shit for decades can like all of a sudden get stupid. Like you can't blame like Democrats.
No, both.
Well, no, I'm just saying, but you like, the problem is like, so I can actually have conversations with conservatives about this, right? So like, I don't like when I hear like liberals typically complaining about fucking like Republican congressmen and shit, like, or politicians, I can't really even listen to that. Like, look, I'm not a Trump guy, right? I'm not a politician guy. I don't trust any of them. All cards on the table. I just don't. But I can be mad at Trump for things that I'm mad at him about, and not a single one of them will be some bullshit that we heard on the fucking mainstream media, right? Like these are the things that I'm concerned with him about. But that's the stuff you hear from that side. So whenever that's why like I think they're all kind of bad. But when I talk about Democrats, it's because I'm talking to adults when I'm talking typically to conservatives, right? Who are a little bit easier to have real conversations with. And so that's why I point that out, because these people, because I learned a lot, like, so I learned a lot of my how to research, because for real, like for 40 years of my life, I'm 45, for like 39, 40 years of my life, I wasn't shit. I didn't do shit. I was a drug addict. I fucking did not care about anything going on, right? I paid very surface level attention to what was going on politically, like very surface level. And but I learned so much from conservatives. That's who I learned how to deep dive. That's how I learned how to go down rabbit holes and what to look for and things like that. I didn't learn very much, to be honest, from liberals. I did not. And so that's what I mean. Like, because even at that time, I had discernment. I was able to see it. And this is like, because I'm new to all this, right? Like, I did not know about anything. A lot of these people that I know and talk to, they've known about this corruption and how deep it was and everything for decades. I couldn't imagine having that bearing on my head for that long. It would fucking no way, right? But when I started learning about it, I actually ran for office here in El Paso locally.
Really?
I ran for I ran for county commissioner because it was COVID. So when COVID was happening, I was noticing all these things that were going on here. And I was like, the fuck? Like, it was so blatant that my ignorant ass was noticing it. And I started calling it out, but I didn't know where to look for things. And it was conservatives who I would like watch and see what they were doing and where they were going and stuff like that, where I learned how to deep dive. So and I appreciate whenever you say like, I have information, I try to be thorough and I try to be honest in everything I say and put out there. And this is a lot to do with conservatives who taught me this. And nowadays, conservatives think that often that I'm a liberal because I will shit on Republicans a lot and conservatives a lot. But the reason for this is because I have seen that I know for a fact that conservatives know how to research. They know how to deep dive. They know how to dig, right? They're not ignorant in the sense of like how liberals are. So whenever I've seen so much, like whenever, for example, so with my TikTok, right? I had conservatives who followed the hell out of me, right? There was mostly conservatives who followed me because I was shitting on Joe Biden and fucking Kamala and all the things these crazy fucking, Democrats were doing with when it came to like trying to teach fucking elementary kids about sex and shit, fucking like trying to cut up children, fucking abortion, like all these things. Like, I'm just like, this fucking crazy ass rhetoric that they're doing. So I was shitting on them. And people would be like, why wouldn't you talk about Trump? I'm like, because he's not president. I don't care about him right now. I don't give a fuck about it. I'm talking about the guy who's in charge.
Right.
So, and but then October 7th happened, right? And as I do, I try to find
Adam. We got banned on They got banned on TikTok. So please, everyone.
I forgot about that.
You're
sorry.
fine. You're fine. That's when we got other outlets. Everyone, you can go to Kick and it's Country Crazy 73. You can go to Rumble, it's Country Crazy 73. You can go to YouTube, Country_Crazy 1973. You can go to X, Country Crazy 73. And Facebook is just my name. It's Gail Blanton, Blanton. So if you guys got all of that, come on over, click in, and look in Heather's bio on TikTok, you guys. Go to the bio and it has every one of my links in there. Just tap on it and we'll bring you right on in. Sorry about that, guys. But hey, TikTok don't like the truth. It doesn't like the truth because I agree with you on all that. I did. I knew right when you said that one part. Yeah, I knew that they were probably going to get taken down. Sorry, Heather. I know TikTok sucks, but we still go back. It's like a narcissist.
I started rambling anyways. I'm sorry. I just like went off on some tangent. I apologize. Just fucking
no, don't you ever
That's what I was talking about.
No, don't you ever apologize. I've really enjoyed this conversation because when you're in the boxes on TikTok and you get multiple people in there, you've got those that want to fuel it. They want to fight. They want to argue. They want to eat each other alive. But you really honestly want to have a sound conversation with opposition, You truly do, because I want to get in your head and see what is making you tick and making you think that way. Maybe I can send you to a place that make you see different with facts. Maybe you can send me somewhere to see different with facts. And what happens with that? We come to a medium. We come to some even ground to where, okay, because what happened to the days of where we could actually do that? Nowadays, I mean, you've got the murders that took place in Minnesota. Okay. Now, recently, I'll say this, guys. Recently, last night, reports came out that Colbert, what's his name, Bolter or something like that, the guy who actually allegedly committed the murders, he wrote a letter to the FBI, okay, stating that Tim Walz wanted him to unalive Amy Colbert, which is another Senate member, because he wanted her seat.
Yeah.
Now, I had a feeling something like this was going to come out because, but then there was another lobbyist who was texting another senators or a couple senators and had 500 rounds and was going to go to the Capitol in Minnesota and just start shooting people. Then he got arrested because his friend of 13 years turned over the information and he got arrested and detained. And when he got detained, he said he did it because he was under distress because of the murders that took place. But does do two wrongs make it right? No. And that's what I'm saying, their mindset. It is social discourse. It's bad.
Well, they know how to manipulate these people. They know that a lot of people run on emotion, especially these days, right? And this is a problem. This is like one of my big issues when it comes to politics in general, is identity politics, right? Like people
Mm-hmm.
are so locked in, right, that they like realistically for a lot of the problems that we hear and see, yes, we do encounter them, but a lot of people act as if they are encountering every single problem every single day at every moment of the day, right? And it's just like totally destroying their lives. And what's happening is they are just allowing all of the noise to take over their lives, right?
Agreed.
So and who's the easiest people to do that with, right? The young. And that's why, they can get an old person, they can bribe them, they can blackmail them into doing things. They got families, they got, kids, things like that. You can get that. But if you want to get people to follow behind you and chaos and stuff like that, the kids, you after the young ones, right? I was talking with yesterday I was talking with some friends on MAGA's live actually.
Okay.
And I was bringing up the point. I go, if you look at today, right? Like there was a point in our history where people would actually train their children in how to use guns, right? You
Yeah.
trained your kids, you were taught to respect them, you were taught they're not fucking toys. Like this is what people were taught, and it was common. It was common, right? But now look at like the last 20 years. These people are voting now, right? What have they seen the last 20 years? Guns are dangerous. Guns are fucking, if there's a gun, then we need to ban guns. If it wasn't for guns, then there would be, no murders. Like, even though we sit here and shit all over the government and police and everything, we still need to get rid of our guns and trust the police and the government. Like, this is the things that they are talking about, right? And these are the people who are going to be voting now. So we can sit here and talk about like our gun rights and stuff like that. But we are not the ones who are going to be the majority voting. It's going to be the youth, and they're going to be the ones who are voting for like anti-gun legislations. They're going to be the
Right.
ones who are voting for like anti-First Amendment legislations, right? You were talking about it earlier, free speech, right? They think that speech should be regulated. Like these are the people who are going to be voting now. And if you look at the last 20 years, this is what they have been doing. And this is what I talk about, like these plans, these long-term plans. These politicians, this isn't just like they woke up one day and you're like, here's a good opportunity. This is shit. They have every resource available to them to do these long-term plans. We do not. We
Right.
struggle. And
And that's
that's why I
that's what
asked.
I
Go ahead.
that's what I try to tell. There's a 7-second delay too. Just letting you know, I'm
Sorry.
not over talking you. There's just it seems
You're
that
good.
way. It's just like TikTok. There's just that delay there, and then you're
Well, I'll just keep
going
going
in.
anyway. So please.
No, you're fine. It's a good conversation. I appreciate it. Um, but the thing is, I always tell my kids, I've got 7 grandkids, and they're young, but I have a grandson who will be 15 in November, and he's gotten interested in the last few years watching the YouTube, which it's monitored. There's sometimes I put stuff on there, so his mama's got it monitored. He can see some of the stuff, but what he has learned, he's already started reading the Constitution. Um, it's those seeds we plant that further, because the next generation, that's what I'm concerned with. I'm concerned with my grandkids, their kids, they're on and so forth. We got a miss. Hi, Stevie. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. On Kick, you guys. This is our second time going on Kick, and it's been pretty cool. We're trying to build our community with. You don't have to be like-minded. That's what I'm saying. You don't have to be like-minded. I want diversity in here. I want us to be able to have opposition, but at the end of the day, us be like, you know what? You had good points. I had good points, and let's just resonate with it at the end of the day, you know, that kind of thing. Immigration is another situation that of course, that we have differences opinion on with Democrats. I get so many times. And to say that the videos that we do see is not heart-wrenching, oh my God, it is. It absolutely is. It absolutely is.
Intentionally.
Right. But if I go to your country, they have immigration laws, people. If I go to Mexico and I don't have okay, let's say I'm not legal, I don't have a passport or not or something like that, I will get put in jail for 10 years. I will get put in jail for 10 years. So why is it that America needs to police the whole entire nation? And why is it America has to be the one to say it's okay if you break our laws? I'm not saying I don't believe in immigration. I'm saying it needs major reform in the proper way. Absolutely. I agree with that. But what Biden did the last 4 years, it's going to take 10 to 15 years to undo that. So people thinking, you know, that's why Trump, I believe, hit the ground running. Now, people ask me all the time, okay, the way immigration is just going in and getting these people, mass deportations. There is no way, softly, let's just put it that way, to have a mass deportation. We had a mass importation. There is not going to be a way to have a soft mass deportation, if you understand what I'm saying. So the things that are taking place, them going to the courthouses, have every right to, because we have to do this. And you know, I hope and pray that they are just going after the ones who are pedophiles, crime, you know, murderers, treasonous people, if they're sales, which we do have sales here. And I believe, honestly, because we saw age fighting men just coming across the border from different nationalities, I do believe that those are going to be the sales. I mean, one of the questions I was going to ask you was, if an attack happens here on U.S. soil, do you think it's going to come from another country, or do you think it's going to come from sleeper cells that we have here in the United States?
I think it will be framed.
Breaking news, the U.S. launched an attack against Iran and they hit their nuclear sites. I had a feeling that that's what was going to happen. Okay, cue up video number, where'd it go?
You can see it coming if you look up naval deployment that we've been doing along
Yes.
with the bombers like you were talking about. That's exactly what was happening.
Do number two bombers, please.
Obviously, they were all slaughtered and all left to die by this administration.
Yeah, so what we're looking at here is we're being told this is, I think, anywhere from just shy of 200 to 300 feet in depth. There are all kind of reports out there of 1,000 foot, but I think that's more propaganda. So what you end up doing is, if you saw the movie, the latest Top Gun movie, eerily enough, this is that plot kind of coming to fruition in real life. It's not just one bomb. It'll be a bomb after a bomb to get through that penetration.
And just lastly, that's what you're talking about. Can penetrate up to 200 feet below the surface. And then, of course, we'll see it try and put the second one in there and go down in there. Yeah. Let's bring in David Burke, our Top Gun and former Top Gun instructor, retired U.S. Marine Corps officer. Now, David, I don't know how well we did that, but you know this better than anybody. Talk to us about, you know, questions over whether or not this can successfully be done.
Joey Jones just crushed that explanation. You guys hit the nail on the head. So really well done. This absolutely can be done. There is not a cave in the world deep enough to defend itself against the American military if it needs to hit it. And you described the weapon system and the aircraft and the mating of that exactly right. Now, this is a hard problem to solve, but it is absolutely a solvable problem with this system.
So we have within that, this just happened, guys, breaking news that they did drop bombs on Iran's nuclear sites. So now that this has happened, we knew that 5.2 earthquake took place. I foresee some more earthquakes taking place, truthfully. And I hate to say it, but I believe it'll probably go as far as to Israel, truthfully. I believe there's going to be some earthquakes take place in Israel with this, or across it. What is your feelings as the next move after this? Do you think Russia's going to retaliate? Because they said if we had bombed Iran, but we didn't bomb them, we bombed their nuclear sites. But that's still an action taken.
And it could be civilians, right? Scientists, things like that. We don't know who was there. We don't know how many. I mean, you're not going to know for a while, and it's going to be hard to get accurate numbers because they're going to tell us what they want to tell us. We're not going to have crews in there to do these counts for us. So,
actually, go ahead.
Oh no. So, but I mean, so I think we're going to have to wait and see, right? We better hope for all the rhetoric we heard, we better hope that they don't have something built up, because again, just like I talk about our politicians, they're not as dumb as we like to think they are sometimes. Well, these people aren't as dumb either, and they are huge, and they have proxies all over the place. If we don't believe that they have some kind of contingency plans and maybe didn't see this coming, then that is kind of ignorant. And they better hope they don't have some kind of like powerful atomic or nuclear weapon, because I don't think we'd see it here. I don't, but I think the Middle East could be in for quite a fucking surprise.
I agree. Heather, if you could queue up a live report of what is taking place right now, if you don't mind, and we will stream it for a few minutes so we can keep updated with it. If you don't mind, thank you, love. I appreciate you guys. Say thank you to Heather. She is doing it. It's a phenomenal job.
She's amazing.
It's a work in progress. We're both, learning this system out, but I think once we get the niche of it, it's going to be awesome. But this gives us a safe place to talk about these things, that you can't go other places and talk about. And we have a farther reach to individuals that are questioning things right now. Because just think about it, like you were talking about, you said you're 45 now. Is that what you said? And you said you were in your 39 or something. No, you were 40 or 41 whenever.
I was about 39, 40 when I woke up.
39, 40 when you woke up. 2020 is when I woke up. I didn't care for politics. I went on about my life, my merry life, and didn't even think about politics. You ready? Okay, cue it up, sweetheart. Go right ahead. Whenever you're ready, just go ahead. It takes a minute to pull it through. But I mean, I was the same way. I was the exact same way.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, in all honesty, and some of the friends, some of the people in the chat who I hang out with, it was a rough 2 years, like figuring everything out, learning it, and how to navigate it, and waking up to so much and just going.
I questioned reality. Did you do that? I questioned reality. Go ahead and cue it up. You're good.
We should point out that the Israelis have worked really, as we've been reporting over the last week plus, very hard to take out the air defenses of Iran. Already in a first wave of runs back in October, the Israeli military and Air Force took out a lot of those surface-to-air missiles. Now, with this latest bombing run over the past few days, Jennifer, they have essentially eliminated it. And to talk to Israeli officials, they said they have control of the skies, really a full path to Tehran, and they've been taking out sites and targets at their will, they suggested. And this led the way for this bombing run tonight.
Well, the Israeli Air Force has just been unbelievable in terms of their success since June 12th. They have been carrying out nonstop runs and strikes against Iranian targets, including the first night, 14 Iranian nuclear scientists who were taken off the battlefield, as well as about 50 top generals in the Iranian military, including the head of their Air Force, their ballistic missiles, their drone capabilities, their IRGC, the Revolutionary Guard Corps. So they have really had incredible success in terms of all of the spots and all of the above ground spots that an F-16 or an F-35 could take out. They said a few days ago that they had air superiority. That then opens the way for the and what that means is that they've taken out most of the air defense systems on the ground, so that then their planes could really fly with impunity. And that also opened the way for those very, very, the stealth bombers, the B-2 bombers, which also are escorted, we're told, by F-22s and F-16s, and also the EA-18 Growlers. They play a very significant role. That's an electronic warfare jammer that flies with the B-2. And remember that second aircraft carrier, the USS Nimitz, had just gotten into the region earlier today. You had the USS Vinson. Those EA-18 Growlers are on board those aircraft carriers. They are absolutely essential for the B-2 to fly over Iran, even though the Israelis had air superiority over the country.
Jennifer, stand by if you would. Do I have Greg Palcott in Tel Aviv control room? Is he up and running? Okay. All right. We're going to get him up and running. Interestingly enough,
guys, we're listening to a live broadcast. Pause it for just a minute,
Israeli
if you
missiles.
don't mind, Heather. Okay. We're going to bring it right back up. Gravel, welcome in. He is, I call him my expert to the skies. I would like for him to kind of reiterate a bit of what is taking place, if you don't mind, Gravel. Welcome. And you're still muted. I have to tell you that because you're... Are you there, Gravel? Go ahead and put it.
Busy man.
Yeah, go ahead and put it back to the live feed, and then as he comes up, we'll pull him in if you don't mind, Heather. Thank you so much. I appreciate it because I'm not showing him down the phone. There he is. There he is.
As precise as the Israeli military targeting has been, you've been reporting on that over the last few days.
It's really extraordinary because when this started, the Israelis estimated that the Iranians had about 100 mobile ballistic missile launchers. They have taken out, they think, about 55% of any of the missile launchers that the Iranians have access to now. The Iranians have blown through quite a bit of their missile stockpile. They had about, I think, about 3,000 ballistic missiles when this started, maybe between 1,000 to 2,000 that could reach Israel. And I think that they fired about 500. But most importantly, the IDF and the Israeli Air Force have been able to take out, as you mentioned, almost half of the missile launchers. So each night we've seen fewer and fewer ballistic missiles being fired at Israel. All of the drones that have been fired at Israel have been taken out. We understand that Israeli pilots, along with American fighter pilots, have been taking down those drones each night. So American pilots have been helping, as well as along with those U.S. Navy destroyers. There are 5 U.S. Navy destroyers in the Eastern Med off the coast of Israel who've been using their Aegis defense systems to shoot down ballistic missiles over Israel. So the U.S. has been very involved, along with U.S. soldiers who are on the ground. There are about 300 U.S. soldiers that are working at who are manning the THAAD and the Patriot PAC-3 missiles that are defending cities within Israel, and those are operated by U.S. soldiers, about 100 soldiers per THAAD missile.
All right, we want to head to Israel on the ground. I just want to reiterate, this is a huge moment in that President Donald Trump has authorized and the U.S. military has just pulled off strikes inside Iran at 3 different nuclear sites. Fordo, Natanz.
3 sites.
The word coming from President Trump's Truth Social that the bombers were outside of Iranian airspace, that the payload of bombs was dropped on the primary site, Fordo. As you look at the map there, I want to go live on the ground to Trey Yingst, chief foreign correspondent, about a reaction there on the ground, what the Israelis are saying, plus what you think this fallout may be.
Yeah, Brett, good evening. This has been the talk of Israel for the past several days as the country waited to see if the Americans would get directly involved in the conflict. And even up in the last few hours, I was talking with current and former sources, trying to get an understanding of when this might happen. And at 1:55 local time, one source said, rumors, Trump gave the word, supposed to be happening now. We were working on tracking it down, and the president taking to Truth Social to say the Americans did indeed strike 3 separate Iranian nuclear facilities, including the Fordow nuclear facility deep underground outside of the Iranian capital of Tehran. The bottom line here is that people are talking about enrichment. They understand that this decision was made because the Iranians were increasing their uranium enrichment capabilities and increasing increasing the purity closer and closer to weapons grade material. And the concern was that the Iranian regime was just weeks away from being able to build a nuclear bomb. We've seen over the past 9 days, the country has the ability to strike major population centers here in Israel with ballistic missiles. So you can imagine that having a nuclear warhead that could ultimately be attached to a ballistic missile would clearly be a direct threat to the Jewish state. And that was why the Israelis said that they made the decision to start these strikes against Iranian nuclear facilities and against top IRGC officials. And clearly tonight, President Trump ordering these strikes against the Iranian regime's nuclear program because there was no off-ramp for diplomacy at this point. There was that 60-day window that President Trump gave the Iranians to come to the table, 5 rounds of conversations, most of them taking place in Oman, with Steve Witkoff, President Trump's Middle East envoy, other top American officials meeting directly and indirectly with their Iranian counterparts, but the Iranians did not want to finish a deal. And ultimately, the decision was made by Israel to launch this operation that has led to a war developing between the two countries. And then again, tonight, the Americans getting directly involved, launching these strikes with those bombers over Iranian territory.
Pause that for a minute for me, Heather.
As
Okay, so go ahead, speak on it.
Oh, I mean, I was actually pointing at the comments, but I mean, people, they were upset, like, about the packages going to Ukraine. We're going to be doing more of that. Like I said, like I mentioned earlier, we fund Israel's military, right? That's us who does that, and we're going to continue to do so because they might have gotten their nuclear, some of their nuclear spots, right? The ones we know of, but they still have all of their proxies all over the Middle East. I imagine Israel's going to continue to get hit. And I believe that they were already having issues with with their batteries for the Iron Dome, things like this.
Yeah,
of course,
they didn't have much weaponry left either, though, because they had, the way I understand it, Iran purposely wanted them to use up a lot of their ammunition. Let's just say that. And then when their true hit started coming, they were running out of, what was it, that they only had like a day or 2 left of ammunition because we supply that.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to continue to.
We supply that. Absolutely, we will.
Yeah.
When has that happened, sir? I'm trying to read some of the comments. I don't know where Gravel's at. Gravel must be doing something. I was hoping he'd come up here and he'd talk about it because he's U.S. Air Force. And he had been deployed many times to other countries throughout his 20-something year career. So he's a regular on here, and he talks about a lot of the things that have to do with that kind of stuff because I don't know a lot about it. I just know it's a sad time, and I hate that it's taken place personally. And I
don't think any of us, regardless, want war, right? I don't think anyone does. I guess, I mean, some people might find justification in it, but I don't ultimately think anybody really wants it. It is unfortunate because that's kind of where we're at now. Unless Iran just lays down, we could always hope, right?
Well, maybe they would. I don't know. I know we'll have a lot of.
I don't think so. They're proud people. They've been around since the beginning of time. So
that's the problem. That's what we were talking about earlier, being humble. But we live in a very destructive world.
Yeah, I mean, it was like I said, it was kind of pointing this way, right? We kind of could see it happening. Like I said, if everyone would just go read the 2024 DHS Homeland Security report, it tells you exactly what's happening this year,
right?
Step by step.
Absolutely. And see,
wild.
That's what I'm saying. You tell people there's a lot to read, like the big beautiful bill, reading it, all these bills that are coming out. I don't either, but I was talking, what we were talking about before we had that breaking news come through. I was talking about how I woke up and I did not know what was real or not. I kept questioning when news would come out, the main media, it would come out. I would be like, is this really happening or is this a lie? Because I'd found so many things they reported on that were lies that really didn't happen. And that's what drove me to just kind of, because I was a let's do hair makeup kind of TikTok creator. That's what I was into. I wasn't even into none of this. Hell, I didn't even like social studies. Remember the back channel to Iran was destroyed a couple days ago. So it cut off. I get to see all that.
It cut off a way for them to get in touch with them, right? Like to
yeah.
And then find an end.
their internet, they cut their own internet from Starlink, didn't they? Didn't they do that
Yeah,
not too long ago?
well, they did it, and then Elon sent Starlink, right? Isn't that how it happened? I don't know what happened after that, but
I don't know. I don't know if they
it's an
had it
information
and
overload.
yeah, there's so much. And that's why I always say, I don't know for sure. You know, I always try to put it out there if I don't know. But if I unequivocally know something, I'm going to be like, hey, this is really happening. And it's sad we have to show receipts. It's like we see Donald Trump in the White House. It's come to that point to where if he hadn't have shown the truth, you know, to the African president, if he hadn't have done that, people would have been like, I mean, I don't know what your stance is on that, where all the crosses were, where the farmers were being murdered and stuff. Yes,
I think a
there's
lot of
murdering.
information was suppressed about it. I think it's wrong, right? I don't think it's right to go around and murder people, but I
Right.
think information was suppressed, just like everything else, right? They spin
Always.
it for the narrative they want.
They do. They always do. And it's just sad.
I just thought the timing was off. So, yes,
yeah,
please.
it was. It was. Is there anything that you would like to talk about that personally that's on your heart that you'd like to talk about yourself?
I can't think of anything. I mean, if we can, I did want to mention just real quick, and we don't have to go deep into it, but earlier we were talking about immigration, right? And we don't have to go deep into it. Okay, so one of the things you had mentioned that it was like, I guess you were okay. And if I'm wrong, correct me, please. But you didn't see much of a problem with them using military, right, to try to quell everything that was going on in California. Am I wrong about that?
If our law enforcement, our ICE agents, their law enforcement, they're there to do a job. The normal people like we are there. It's just like if I went to work and I get told I've been in corrections and security for many years. I'm not in that field anymore. I'm in mental health now. So it's a big transition. But if I were an officer, if I got up, put my uniform, went in, and I'm trained to do a job, I hold an oath to do that job. And so if I'm going to get someone who broke the law, because coming here illegally is breaking the law. It's that simple. It is breaking the law.
Yes.
Now, the Biden administration caused this entire process. This is a problem that we have. If things had went proper, I'm not saying don't come to America. I'm saying come through a port of entry properly. Because there's people that's been here for years that's took 10, 15 years, paid thousands of dollars to become a legal American citizen. They needed to do this. They wanted to completely implode our infrastructure. Everything they did. They wanted to take our food stamps, cash, you know, all of that. But I'm okay. Yeah, I mean, there's no easy way about it. You can't pick and choose who you're allowed to stay in America, okay? You can't say, okay, well, this person didn't commit a crime, but you came through illegally. And this person did commit a crime and he came through illegally. There's no way to separate that. Because if you do, that's what's good for him is good for him. You know what I'm saying? So you have to stand on the rule of law, not lawlessness. That's my opinion. The rule of law. If you come through the port of entry and you come through legally, no problem. But you come through this country illegally, you knew it was illegal. You knew it was illegal. And you've come over here. Yes, if you're going to harm our ICE agents, if you're going to harm a government official, if you're going to harm someone who is doing their job and cause conflict when they're doing their law-abiding job that they're supposed to be doing, absolutely, I am okay. Because riots, it wasn't just about immigration. It was, they were literally, they're even now, you can see they're rising up against ICE agents. You can see people rising up. Everyday civilians are doing it. And that causes, and then you've got the fuel of the George Soros funding. You know, you've got all of that being pushed.
Well, you can look at the sponsors of the No Kings thing. If you look on the back page of the sponsors, there's like 40 of them.
Walmart.
Right? So yeah,
but Walmart's number one though. Walmart owner or whatever her name
like
is
40
number
like
one.
crazy left sponsors. The reason I asked though,
but go ahead. I'd like to hear your point.
No, you're good. You're good. I appreciate it. But problem. The thing that I don't think people think of, and I don't know why, but when these things happen, these are precedents that are set. Remember these times whenever the opposition, the people we don't trust, the people you don't like, come into office. They're going to use these same tactics. We scream and yell whenever they were doing things, right? We don't like it. It's not right that they're doing it, but they get away with it. And right now, everyone's fine with it. But if the next administration happens to be the opposition party, if these things happen, people are going to hate it, right? They're going to hate it. And what I would say is, it seems now what we have in politics is one-upsmanship, right? Well, they did this, so I can do this. Well, they did that, so I can do that. And it seems like that's what we get a lot of. We hear a lot of people talk about it, right? Because when we talk about what's happening now, people will always bring what we heard a lot of was, well, Obama deported 3 million or whatever, right? And it's like, well, when he did this without due process, then when he didn't follow the Constitution, then are we here? Oh, just me? I shouldn't be on alone, but when we didn't follow the Constitution, then he was in the wrong as well. It was our responsibility to hold him accountable, but people weren't worried about it until people started going at Trump. And the problem is we have been deporting people for decades, right? For decades, at least as long as I've been alive. I know I've been in El Paso. I'm in El Paso, Texas. We have one of the biggest border crossings here, right? Where I live. I'm like fucking 15 minutes from the border, from Mexico. I'm like right there. The thing is for decades, at least my entire life or 30 years here, we've had immigration illegally and we've had deportations. And we've had illegal immigration and we've had deportations. Within that time, we've had Democrats, we've had Republicans back and forth, right? In Congress, in the presidency, it doesn't matter. And they still have not found a better, more effective way to take care of this problem. No, they just keep going back to it because they understand that the people will go for it, right? Like, how do you continue? Like, what sense does it make? Like, what do they say? What is insanity? Continuing doing the same thing and expecting a different result.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing, right? Like, if people step back away from it and just kind of take the emotion out of it and look at it, this is what we're doing. We're sitting there and we're going, they're coming over. All right, deport them. Oh, they're coming over. All right, deport them. Well, we're in the same spot, right? Nothing has gotten better.
That's
if anything, it's gotten worse.
Right.
Right. So, I mean, this is the problem is that people, they won't hold who's accountable because they're scared or don't know how, because those who are accountable is our government. They're the ones who keep doing this. They're the ones who keep sending them, right? So we can send them back, but you know what's going to happen in 4 years? They're going to come back. And they're going to deport them.
That's what I'm saying. It's like we get it all cleaned up. I was talking about this the other night. We get it all manageable, working, functioning properly and effectively. And then a new president comes in, whole new party. And just like what the Democrats just did, threw it upside down on its head. Okay? Upside down. I know you may not agree with that, but
no, I know. I agree with you. I do agree with you. Like halfway, like I halfway agree with you. Like seriously, country, I do, because I think it's all of them, right? Because these things don't work unless they work together. Because think about like the party system, right? If we're to believe that the party system is how it should be, I think the party system actually harms us in so many ways. But is this how it's supposed to be? For 4 years, Republicans get to do well, and then Democrat Americans have to eat shit, and then for 4 years, Republican Americans have to eat shit, and Democrats get to do well, and just go back and forth. Like, this does not make sense, because what we see is, for like, the guy's a president, and like these last few presidencies, it's like these guys have way too much power. They shouldn't be able to wipe their ass without Congress's fucking approval. And
but we've got rhinos and the wrong people in Congress too that are.
Well, they're all wrong, right? They're all wrong because what good are they, right? If you vote for someone who represents you, right? Let's say the last 4 years, most conservatives thought that they were eating shit for the last 4 years, and I would fucking tend to agree, right? The last 4 years were fucking insane, a lot of fucking crazy shit. I will give you that, right? But what good were any Republican representatives during that time?
None. I didn't even see him going to the border until it was already a chaotic situation. I mean, it was like, I was dumbfounded. I was like, nobody's going to the border. And then when they finally went, we were like 2 years in. 2 years in deep.
Yes. And this is a problem we knew about, right? Because it's always been a problem.
Yeah,
it's always been a problem.
It just keeps rotating. But do they do it to offset the United States, the economy? Do they do it? They do it for a reason. I may not know exactly.
They do it to keep us fighting, because this is the thing.
Was getting peaceful.
I mean, anytime you start to, it's so heated. It doesn't take much to kind of notice it. Like, oh, people chilling the fuck out. get them back out there, right? But here's the thing, and I asked this question to a lot of people, and I have yet to find an answer, and I think this really speaks a lot.
Term limits, Patriot 1975 term limits.
I
That's
disagree with
Rob,
term
by the
limits.
way.
I disagree
That's
with term
Rob.
limits.
You disagree with term limits? Whoa, hold the phone.
Are we talking? We're talking congressional term limits, correct?
Yes, drop it. I want to hear why you disagree with it.
Okay, so I disagree with congressional term limits because I don't believe that a district should be punished just because of time, right? I think that there should be like a retirement age. You shouldn't be able to go to like your 80 or whatever. I think that's ridiculous. But like let's say, but like no matter what the solution is, the people have to pay attention. Otherwise, it doesn't matter, right? If the people aren't paying attention to what the fuck's happening, they'll put in whoever they want. It doesn't matter if you kick someone out; they'll just put someone else in there. But imagine like, so if people have to pay attention at least a little bit to understand and like kind of keep it in check, then you don't need term limits. Because if someone is doing good for my community, right? If they're doing great, say I lived in a shithole and this guy came in and he fucking turned it around, right? And everybody in the community is happy. Why should we be forced to kick him out if he's doing well by us? If we're happy with him and he's doing good, then why are we forced to kick him out? But we are. And now we have to go with someone else. We hope that, you know, he's a good person. We hope that he's not going to fuck us. We hope he's not been built by the establishment, right? But we have to take this chance because of term limits. When he's our representative, it's one thing like a president because it's federally elected, right? But when you have state representatives that are representing you in federally, then they shouldn't be forced out if you feel that they're, you know, doing good by you. Like,
well,
that's
maybe
crazy.
there could be a level of gauge, but how do you gauge that? You know what I'm saying? How would you gauge pro and cons with it? I mean, how would you do that? I mean, what if there was an effective way to do that? If this person have a special election for that? I mean, don't get me started on the elections. Hell, I don't even know anymore about them even, you know? Yeah. I mean, there's so much, and now Trump has come out asking for a special counsel to investigate the 2020 election because some files have been released from the FBI for things, you know, I believe the 2020 election was stolen. I believe it. I may not have completely the numbers in my hand, but I believe it was stolen. And that's what I'm saying. Our elections are broken. Our immigration system's broken. We got so many things that are broken. Yeah, the Supreme Court needs term limits as well. Is what Patriots.
That I'm fine with. The Supreme Court, yeah. I mean, I don't think these lifetime appointments is fucking ridiculous. Like that, I do not agree with.
Well, these senators and congressmen, they're literally sitting in their seat the day before they die, and they're that old.
Yeah, I think that's ridiculous too. Again, I think there needs to be. I mean, you can even make it low, right? If you want to make it 45, I don't give a shit, right? But I just don't think that if someone's doing good by a community, they shouldn't be ripped out. Now, if elections are fake, right? I could argue that we haven't had a legitimate election at least since the hanging chads of what Gore, fucking Bush, right? Like, I mean, if we had questions then, what's to say that any election has been legitimate? If there's one city in this union that has a questionable election, then the entire thing is thrown off, right? Like the entire thing, because that one city counts, it matters. So if they have that, then every single election is fucked off because it's not legitimate, because you're taking away those people's votes or you're manipulating those people's votes. This is a problem.
I agree with you. Our elections are broken, but I believe we need term limits. I disagree with that point, and that's okay. I believe we need term limits.
Most people do.
To start somewhere. Yeah, they do.
I wouldn't fight against it vehemently.
But I bet you there's less that what you're talking about that are taking care of their state or their town. I bet there's less that are doing right than there are, you know.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But that's what I mean. Yeah. Like, people have to pay attention. That's the whole thing, right? Like, if people paid attention, these motherfuckers would have been primaried, right? Like, if people, but I mean, a lot of that, it's just American laziness, right? Because people know, we talk about it sometimes when we all get together, is dinner table politics, right? One of our boys in the chat is like, he's big on this stuff, right?
Counting ballots is our problem. I remember as a little girl, we'd go to the courthouse. My dad would vote, and I believe we were having fair elections at Reagan. I believe we had fair elections then. But I believe
we expect it to get better with more AI, more computers, right?
No, that's just going to manipulate the system even more, I think.
And how would we like? we don't fucking know. I'm an idiot. Like, I'm not going to know if that thing's legitimate. Like, they can tell me anything that they're like, yeah, it was good. I don't know one way or another. Right? Shit. So, I mean, that's why that's why people got to pay attention, right? Because if you have a guy who's like a Nancy Pelosi, right? Let's take that. Like, we can all watch and be like, this bitch is fucking, she's, she's on the stuff. Like, there's so many things wrong with this, right? But she keeps getting elected. Do we think that the people who are in her district are actually electing her over and over and over? And if they are, that's on them, right? But the problem is, I don't think they would, right? You have these people like a Mitch McConnell. You think these people are voting for him over and over and over and shit, right? Like, these things, this is either it's complete bullshit or the people don't pay attention. And if either one of those are true or both are true, then it doesn't matter. You can put term limits. You can give them 1 term. You can give them 2 terms, because the next person in is going to do the same shit because there's no one watching them, right? Like, unless people are paying attention, you think the next guy's not going to steal your money? You think the rest of the bad people stealing your money are going to let the good guy come in and just be like, ah, shit. No, well, there goes the theft. You know what I mean?
I'm watching nobody. 20 million extra votes in 2020 and 15 million for Biden, 5 for me. I disagree, baby. I disagree. And she had one other comment. I wanted to go.
I believe our elections were stolen, but I believe it was stolen from every single one of us.
Oh yeah, I mean, the ballots. That's our problem. The ballots. We have okay. We know the Democrats need illegal immigration. We know that they need illegals here for those votes. My opinion.
Do they?
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, they do.
I'm just so I understand that, like, on its face, right? But if they're able to cheat and there's no auditing that went on really enough to where they got caught, right, or anything happened, fucking Joe Blow fucking voted for him. Dan Jackson voted for him. They could just make this shit up, right? Like, why do they need all these people to come here and immigrate here when they just make these fucking numbers up? What I think we
get rid of the
we need to do.
Cities. Get rid of the sanctuary cities, and we'll have better control.
Transparency. People are so proud and so loud about who they vote for these days. If that's how it is, I think it would make it so much better if they just made everyone's vote transparent, right? Like, you should be proud for who you are electing. You should not be ashamed of who you're trying to put in office to make laws and protect your rights. Like, you should be proud of these people.
How would you be transparent about it? How would you go about it?
They could easily do a database and put every single person's vote on there, right? And if you were worried about it, everybody would have the opportunity to go audit it if they wanted, right? They could go through and count every single vote. People have that kind of time these days, right?
We do that now. They show it, and we do that now. You register.
No, well, it'll say Republican or Democrat, but show your actual vote, right? Like, show your ticket, your fucking signature on it, right? Or something, some kind of identifying mark.
That are doing that. Machines are doing it, and they're saying these people are coming out and saying, I didn't even vote this year, and you've got a ticket saying that I voted for, this side or that side. There's a problem. There's a huge.
So that's one person who figured it out, though, right? That's one person who noticed it. How many people did not see it?
When they're taking disk drives outside and dropping them on the ground.
But how many people are not? So that one person did it, right? Or like, let's say 10 people called it out. Okay. I mean, I know it's more, but I'm saying, let's just say for simplicity's sake, 10 people called it out.
Okay.
How many people who don't pay attention? Like, I was telling you, like, before, like, I would go vote and then I would not fucking think about it before, right? Like, whenever I was just kind of a mindless zombie and part of the populace like everybody else, right? Vote, done. How many of these people are their votes fucking switching? And they'll never know because they don't look at it. But if they have a database that is available to people, the people who want to go audit it, the American who should have the right to make sure that who they are electing is actually losing or winning, right? They can go look and see, like, hey, look, these fucking, these ballots are, look, there's like 17 of, Evander Jackson, whatever, right? Like, these are things that you could look into. But when everything is just like, oh, he just registered Republican. Oh, Democrat, right? Like, it doesn't tell you who.
Right, that's what your point.
So I mean, and like I said, everyone screams. They're, oh my God, Donald Trump, or oh my God, Kamala Harris, or whatever the fuck, right? Well, if people are so proud of it, why not just make it transparent? Because if it was transparent, it would. Is it going to fix it all? No. But what is ever going to fix it all? But it'll get towards making a difference in actually holding accountability, especially on a local level. Because on a local level, you'll be able to see better. Like, on a federal election, it would be fucked up. But like here in Texas or in my city, like when we're electing somebody, we can go through and check what here in El Paso, we got 850,000 people registered or fucking not even registered that, are on the census. But registered is it like a third of that, right? So that's not shit. That would be easy for anybody to go through an audit and go, okay, look, but we don't have that opportunity. We just take their word for it that what they're doing is honest and fair to people who historically have never been honest or fair. These people run human like experiments on us. They fucking sacrifice us. They've sacrificed our soldiers. They have harmed us in every way. Like if our family members, if anybody in our family members or friends treated us the way that any member of our government treats us, we would have cut them off years ago. We would they would not be coming to dinner or
That's my
anything.
Point. That's my point, Heather. But you're still trusting technology. You're still trusting the man. You're still trusting.
Not if you do paper
them.
ballots. You do your paper ballots and you can just log it, right? You can log it, right? Paper ballots, we all agree, is the right thing, correct? Am I wrong here?
I do.
So I mean, if that's because I agree, I think that's the way to do it. Fucking simplicity. But you can have a catalog of all these votes, right? And if all these things are cataloged, then I mean, is it going to fix it all? I don't know. I think it's better than Dominion and fucking everything being hidden.
When we had paper ballots, oh God, yeah. I mean, when we had paper ballots before our elections ran, I mean, we knew by 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning who the hell was our president, senator, congressman, our elected local elected officials. By 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, we knew. Now they go, well, it may take a day or make it. That is pure corruption.
2022, Florida had a hurricane and they got their elections done in hours. Arizona took 2 weeks. And I'm supposed to trust this system? I'm supposed to trust this shit? Because they had they had that Arizona was where they had like the paper, like the newspaper covering up the windows and shit. And like it showed like the Katie Hobbs bitch, right? She was like kicking the box or whatever. Like all this shit is like happening like right there blatantly. And was accountability ever held? Like, was it legitimately ever held? I mean, maybe to like an election worker, right? Some fucking, ham and egger that, signed up there as a volunteer and now they're spending 40 years in prison. Like this is what they do. They sacrifice us for their good, not for ours.
They get richer by us middle class, and poor people get poor. And we work harder. They take more. I don't think you should have to pay taxes on your property. There should be no property taxes. You bought that. I don't think we should pay taxes at all. Truth. That was
taxes to die. You got to die and pay taxes and shit.
But they keep thinking up other ways. You pay taxes on your tags. You pay taxes on everything. Every freaking thing. Mm-hmm. And when they invented that, it wasn't meant to continue. When they started, it wasn't meant to fix. But then they figured out how much money was coming through, just like our Treasury Department. No fucking oversight. None. Of all the places that you need oversight, I could have went in and said, tell me how to stop stubbing my big toe. That kind of thing. And they would have said, okay, we'll give you $5-10 million to figure that out. I mean, some of the crap that they've done all this money for is ridiculous. I mean, right now, 4 USAID members have been arrested for over $550 million. Just imagine, that's just the tip of the iceberg. That's not even, I told people, I said, we have millions, billions, and we have trillions. There's probably a whole new name for the amount of money that they'd have to talk about and name that has been taken.
That is called debt.
Debt. I like that. Debt. That's good.
That's the money. That's the new money, right? Like it goes to like trillions, and then next is debt.
It is.
It's wild.
Adam, it's
yeah.
crazy.
Thank you.
It is. Thank you for coming on tonight. We've been on for a little while. I try to keep about an hour and a half, so we're a little over. That's fine. I
got 4 more hours in me. Let's roll.
Well, I've done 5-hour podcasts before. I mean, is there anything else you want to go to battle
I'll be happy to come on.
Is there anything else you want to go to battle with?
Everything. I'm kind of an asshole. A little abrasive, but
no, you're not, honey. I have had abrasive. Trust me.
I match energy. I try to be respectful, right?
And you have been very graceful. You truly have.
Land of the free. I'm not that likable.
You're not that likable. Well, Mike said in the comments, he says, you're in trouble, Adam. So
I'm sure
I
I
know.
am.
I think they're going to troll you and come after you. Now, you guys be nice to Adam. Thank you, Twyla. I appreciate you. But I hope you'll come back some night with us and come back on and
I would be honored.
whatever
Yeah,
it
I'd
is
love
to
to.
talk about.
I would love to.
Awesome. I appreciate that. Guys, I want to
Anytime,
take you.
please.
Oh, always. Anytime you want to, just let me know if you feel like you want to come on and you need to talk about something on your viewpoints that you feel you're not getting across to people and you really want to get it out there. Feel free to message me, let me know, and we'll set a show up for you. That way you
I
can
appreciate that. Thank you.
do that. And I do that. I say that for everyone else. Heather, great job, love. I appreciate you and everyone in the comments. Thank you guys so much for joining me around Kick, Rumble, X, YouTube, and Facebook. I appreciate you guys so very much. We got banned on TikTok, but sorry, you got banned on your account. I'm so sorry. But for all of that, guys, pray for peace. And tonight at 10 p.m., Trump is giving a address to the nation, I guess, about what has taken place and what is to come from there. Keep your eyes on it, but pray for our country, pray for peace, pray for our president, and stay safe because July 4th, I think July 4th, we need to be we need to now because, we've got plenty of people that have came from other countries here that want to do America harm, that want to do Americans harm. And Iran has already stated everyone will feel it. So they're here in the United States and they're called sleeper cells. And don't think for a minute they're going to be sleeping after this. So keep your head on a swivel. That's what my concern is. That is exactly what my concern is that they're going to be activated, so to speak.
I think it's hard to believe that our government, they can tell me what I had like 3 months ago on a random Wednesday for lunch, but they don't know where these sleeper cells are. I don't believe this for 1 second.
I don't either. I mean, I know we had so many, we had Chinese nationalists. What, the government?
Yeah.
You think the government's a sleeper cell?
I think that they know where they're at. I think they fund them. I think they keep them quiet until they need to use them.
Well,
I think false flags are, I think that's, we see a lot of that.
Relevant,
and I think that's kind of what it is, right? Like these people, and that's just, like I said, our government is pretty high tech. They can tell a lot of things, but they can't find these millions sleeper cells, right? They found Iran's bunkers. They found their nuclear facilities, right? They can't find people here in domestic grounds. I find it hard to believe.
All by design, disruption, have wars on both sides, pay for it, and then in America have disruption because they need, like World Trade Centers. They were fixing to get audited. All that money went missing and the World Trade Centers went down.
Man, I could talk with you forever. Like, did you see recently? Did you see like what was it, like a year ago or so? The DOD came out and they were like, it was like their 8th year of an audit, and they were like failed it, and they're like, we think we're on the right track now. Oh, after 8 years, you're finally getting hold of, finally turn that corner. Fucking awesome.
Well, what gets me is I saw a thing with TMZ, entertainment news, mostly does stuff about actors, singers, and stuff like that. He come out, he said he used to work with someone, and he has been doing reports on 9/11 because he's saying that there was a third plane. And he's coming out with reports of that. And he said, I've got somebody that actually has proof of this and this. So I don't know.
I'm tired of people telling me. I wish they would show me, right? Don't tell me. I don't want to hear it. Like, quit telling me. Fucking show me. All these people, they telling me all this shit, but they ain't showing me nothing. I'm tired of it.
It's
sick of
tough.
it.
It's tough.
Show me. Don't tell me.
Well, thank you again for coming on. I appreciate it. Everyone, please have a blessed night. Tune in. I don't know when. Just keep an eye out from where we'll go. We'll let you know when we'll come back on. We're going to try to work out a schedule at least 2 times a week to do it, working on 3 times. And I used to do 7 nights a week, but got to work now. Got to work full-time job and do it. So got to take a little break. But God bless everyone. Stay safe. Country Crazy out.